smoking your weed today.
Oh, really?
Thanks for passing
Okay.
it on.
I'm gonna stop.
The camera has started.
Great. Well, always good to be made aware of national holidays.
Plus, that's all.
Thanks, Ed.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
Who made this declaration?
It was on the news this morning.
Oh, the news meeting made it declaration.
Probably somebody in Colorado.
Yeah, right.
Everybody review the minutes?
Yes. I will make a motion that the minutes of the last meeting, March 18th, be accepted as corrected.
I'll second.
Any discussion on it
No, I had my comments that I made, they were corrected.
all? Favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Current account balance, Judy.
Okay. As of April 14th, when I did the report, the North Bay operating account had $45,479.84. The Meredith Village operating account had $166,544.94. The rec fund had $22,517.34. And the Friends of Campton Mountain had $15,966.14.
Okay, now we come to the account numbers.
Right, this is where you will make a motion to remove Barbara Lajeunesse as check signer and authorize Art Marks as being the check signer for.
Was Harry learned on that old
No.
one? I didn't think so.
No, he was never on it.
He was never on it, no. No, we didn't
Who
allow
are we
Harry.
removing?
Removing Barbara Lajeunesse.
I move that Barbara Lajeunesse no longer be a signer for any of the state's accounts.
Second that. Second that.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye?
Aye. Got the papers?
No, now we have to have a motion
We have-
putting Art on.
Do we have to, what do you have to do to execute that?
We have to make a motion to add
No.
Oh, okay.
Art
With the
on,
bank, I mean.
and then once I have the meeting minutes, then I bring him to the bank,
Okay.
and then they make arrangements with Art for him to go down and sign his life away.
You mean you can't sign next week? Okay, it's gotta be in the minutes.
I will make a motion for Art Marks to be added to the list of account signers for the Waterville Estates accounts that we,
Village district.
for the village district. Yeah. Okay.
You can second that.
All right, I second it.
Can you second?
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
And so now you have to.
Let's see if we can expedite that, Judy.
You know what you do when you sign these things, you notify everybody how much money you're spending.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, as far as the manager's report goes, Corey's not here tonight,
Yep, and he went over everything with me.
and Judy is
Okay.
fully prepared to zip right through these items.
Yep.
All right.
And I got some great questions there.
Okay, I don't know if I can answer
I just
questions.
say that for the look.
He just did a run through with me.
I just wanted to see the eyes poke at you.
So if I mess up, just excuse me, because this is my first run at this. So the major updates, there were several with the water system. The water main extension on Briar Cliff Circle to Stoner property. That's all he said.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Okay, and then, dealing with, Lloyd had some low water pressure issues, and,
They've been resolved.
They have.
yes.
It only took a year and a half, but we got it resolved.
They put a pressure monitor on the street or something?
No. The solution was much more difficult.
A week.
No, there was no leak. No, they had closed the valve up on the top of the street when they were doing the repair on Donovan Farm Road some, long time ago, yeah. And when they opened it back up, they found that they were having some leaking problem down where they had made all the corrections. And so they solved it by, closing the
Turning it
valve back.
clockwise.
So it was only flowing a little bit, so there wasn't so much pressure on it. And they left it that way. And, everybody forgot about it, except me. I didn't know that this had occurred, but my pressure was, way down for a year and a half. So they went, opened it back up, and they checked it for leaks, and the repair that they made, everything was working fine, but now I have water pressure again.
So is it true that low water pressure leads to high blood pressure?
One of the things that Corey did say in
Yeah.
regards to that was that they found a home that had the pipes frozen, and it may have contributed to Hodgman condos getting low water. Cause you guys had low water for a while, Harry?
There was an issue with the water pressure, and then we get that white chemical, whatever it is, in the water again.
And they said that they're monitoring, the situation, and it may not need to rush into the water main upgrade.
I mean, I had to rush into the water main upgrade.
Yeah, they were gonna run a.
Yeah, right, I know they're gonna do the upgrade.
Right, for the pressure, and they think that because of this frozen house is what's putting the air in their water, which is making it cloudy, or having a white appearance.
Is that what it appears to be, Harry?
It's like when you're on ship and they desalinize the water, except it doesn't actually desalinize, so you get that white kind of looking to it.
Okay, so it's not, is it entrained air,
Um,
or is it something actually in the water, or is it just entrained air?
It's giving it like a cloudy appearance, so
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure if it's actually something in the water, but it's coming out with a white and cloudy appearance, so.
Is it clear to let the glass sit?
I'll have to let the glass sit next time and
If it
check
does,
it
it's
out.
air.
Yeah, it's
If it doesn't,
air, right,
something
yeah.
else.
Yeah,
let
so
it-
if it's not, let us know,
Okay.
so that we can get rid of it.
Yeah, and Corey said that that house that had the frozen pipes that's really a problem, because when it thaws, it's a leak, huge leak,
Hmm.
that causes loss of pressure in places. And then, as it's been it gets warm, then it gets cold, it freezes, and then they can't find it.
Which house was
I
it?
don't.
He just said that it was a frozen house, and that it may be a contributing factor on the Hodgman Hill issues of their water pressure.
Yeah, do check that, Harry, the entrainment, so just let the glass sit. It should clear in about, 5 minutes if it's just the air.
And if not, let us know so that we can
But still,
let Corey know and the guys know.
we shouldn't have entrained air in it either.
Right.
Well, no.
Let's see, the new maintenance truck has been ordered, and it is, looks like it's gonna be coming in under budget. I don't have the exact dollar amount off the top of my head. Let's see, and the roof out back, the flashing is in back order. So when that comes in, then they'll do that last row of shingles after they
Right.
get the flashing on. Let's see.
Is this some special kind of flashing? Does it have a grate in it or something?
I don't know, I'm not.
Oh, but you know what he's talking about, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's the last,
The last course.
it's the last course right up by the windows.
Right,
Yep.
right.
And, I mean,
Looks like a conventional kind of thing.
there must be something special
Maybe
that
it's
they're ordering.
pre-bent or something.
Could be. Yeah, but I mean, they have trucks that can come out and bend that stuff in like a second.
Yeah, I know.
So, I expect, it's probably something special, because that's a huge, the water drips on that,
Yeah.
that's.
Yep. And let's see, the ski area update.
Well, let me ask you, before you go off the rec center roof, how about the roof in the front? That they are working at currently?
Oh, the Matt's working on?
Yeah.
It looks like he's getting close to being done with that.
Yeah, I know, and so I had a question about that though. We clearly had to do that, the the two sections, and looking at it before they started working on it, there were several large dimples in the roof. And I was curious as to what was causing those large, depressions in there, and what they find when they.
They found rot.
They found rot there?
They found
You're talking
rot
about the
there.
area right over the bar?
Yeah,
Yeah, yep, there was
Rot.
rot.
that right.
Yeah.
Why would that happen? you think?
The shingles, water got underneath.
Somebody
and just-
40 years ago saved some money.
Huh?
But in talking with Matt about some of that stuff, he said that, if you remember on this one roof on the side, there was an eyebrow kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just for a
Right.
vent. And he said that when they put that in, they weather sealed over it, so it wasn't venting.
Uh-huh.
So I think that was really
Underneath.
more of a venting issue, and there was no venting along that ridge on
Yeah.
the top, which I believe now
Oh, really?
he's put in the proper type of ridge vent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I believe that the rot was really an issue.
There
of
was
the
no
roof.
venting for that roof at all?
No.
And we only had a little bit of rot?
Yeah, well, we thought we were pretty lucky. I think it was like 2 or 3 4x8 sheets of plywood.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh,
And nothing down into the joists, so.
uh-huh.
Now, is that at all connected to the leaks that were all over the place last week when I came in? There were buckets here, there, everywhere.
If you're talking about in the lounge area?
Well, downstairs, and-
Downstairs.
yes, that was all contributing to that. So once they
Well,
opened
there
that
were
up,
leaks
to-
over in the, for a while when they were doing the storage area, the new storage area, that was leaking because they had not put the plenum on it, the membrane, until after they worked on the refrigeration unit. They pulled the refrigeration unit, then put on the membrane and put that back, and leaks start. But the leaks
Gotcha.
were happening not only upstairs in the new storage area, but right through this floor, going down right there by the exercise room and so
Yeah.
on. The bucket.
Well, that's where I noticed them.
Yeah,
Right.
that's all set now. I
That's
mean,
all done.
The problem was that it snowed. And
Yeah.
they couldn't, that's a rubberized, one of those roofs that you actually heat up.
Oh,
It's a rubberized roof, so it should never leak. They just hadn't been able to put it on
Put it
yet.
on yet,
Yep,
yeah.
So it's
soaking
on now.
it's on now.
Sorry.
okay.
And any of the, like staining that happened to the carpet from that leaking, when I talked to Mandy, she said that she was able to get all that up, because she had just finished cleaning that part of the rug.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you guys have been downstairs at all, where you can see the line of where the rug's been cleaned, and where she hasn't gotten to it yet. It's
Oh.
like,
Where is this in the?
if you go downstairs, like,
Exercise room, down
if
there?
you go down the stairs, like you're gonna head in that direction, because she's right in front of the boiler room now,
Yep.
and you can see that line. It's very distinct of how dirty those carpets were.
Yeah.
Let's see,
You okay? You all set with that?
Yeah.
okay.
So-
And let's see, scary update. Oh, sorry.
Front lounge.
Summit Lounge.
Oh, he didn't say anything to me on the Summit Lounge. Matt has got the floor all done. The outer rim of the floor, that he was doing that.
Sean did that.
Sean did the dance floor. And he started it, but then he got pulled off on projects.
Oh, okay.
So then Matt continued and finished it. And actually Heather and Erica have been in there, and some of the other girls working on getting everything organized and in containers and stuff like that. So as soon as they get that room emptied, then we're gonna go in and clean that rug, so that the rug's all nice and clean too.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That storage room has been just, I keep looking at it, I say, I don't know how we did
Yeah, where
anything
we
without
hide
it. I mean, you would not believe how much stuff there is.
Really?
But now, she's got it set up so that it's like the dishes are all in rollable racks, I mean, it's like,
Cool.
it should just be so much more efficient.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Any other questions for the lounge?
The lounge, what is the current plan for the bar area there at the Summit Lounge? Is there an actual plan as to what's gonna happen?
Are we doing that in that
Oh,
corner?
yeah, in fact, that's a board thing, that, the village district paid for the roof and the
Right,
repairs
yeah.
and the extension there. And then the board is $20,000 budgeted to put in the bar, which is, I believe that Matt either has it all built or he has all the materials for it. It's gonna be a bar, and they're gonna have windows that come down to the bar that flip up, so you'll be able to close that bar off. So you don't.
Straight bar.
Yeah,
The corner
yeah.
of the building, right under the roof, actually, set in about a foot and a half.
Yep, exactly.
And,
The bar is going to have the same siding as the building in
Yeah.
front of it, and then it'll probably be tile or some sort of waterproof
you're
material.
gonna cut a door through where the ice machine is right now.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's, again, when you think about how the food actually would come out, like during the 4th of July, where you've got 2 bartenders in there, and the food has to come out through the
Same
bar.
place, yeah.
So this will eliminate that. The food can come directly. They'll, on that wall where the ice machine is on the outside, there'll be a bar there so that the food can come out that door and then sit right on the bar. So that doesn't have to impact or get in the way
Much more efficient.
of anybody. So again, all of these things look like, major upgrades, but they're also major efficiencies. So that, we're not banging into one another, we're not,
In
it's,
addition to the prep room, that,
yeah, well, that was,
preparation room, that's the
That's-
side
That's gonna make a big difference having that.
benefit of the storeroom.
yeah.
You
Well-
know what that, Lloyd?
Yeah.
That actually came about by removing
The vent.
But, yeah, just move, there was this enormous vent that went through both walls. So it was taking up space in the area where the washer and dryer is. And then it was taking up space on the other side where the cooler was. And they were able to reroute that, so now it's just above the door in the pool. You didn't even notice it, you wouldn't even notice it was there. And we picked up about 2 feet on either side of that wall, which is plenty enough space to put in a prep area, which, being right next to the walk-in cooler, couldn't be any more perfect.
Any other questions for the lounge?
That's, I'll say one thing about having that bar outside on the 4th of July. It gives our bartenders line of sight over that whole place. And rather than looking at the inside of the rec center and not being able to see what's going on around the pool, and always having to be told by somebody that there's something, they'll be able to see it.
It's an additional set of eyes.
Yeah, well, in fact, I think that's something that the Liquor Commission approves of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scary update.
This-
So Corey, I think Corey and Sean, and I'm not sure if anyone else is going with them, but they're gonna go look at the lift on Sugar Bush. They're getting rid of their lift because they have an issue with their bull wheel cracking, I believe is what Corey had said. So they're gonna look at that, to see if there's anything that we can use from that lift for our lift. And one of the things that Corey had said before he left was that we need to, test our bull wheels to make sure that they don't have the same issue as what Sugar Bush has.
Yeah, the new Magnaflux, they call it.
Yep.
Where they've got to check to see if there's cracks that you can't see with the naked eye that show up
Yep.
with this special test.
Let's see, and then identify
Well, of
how.
course, we also have the building itself, the issue of the building.
You're right, yeah, but.
Yeah, I don't know the status of the building.
I think we
I
do.
haven't even gone over there.
I spent an entire day there with Corey, so I can pretty much give you what,
I spent a lot of hours over there myself. It's,
actually, they got it pretty well contained, but when they pulled that hood off, there was a rotten wall,
I went from the roof all the way to the sill,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the roof was actually, had to be jacked up in the front, pending. Right now, it looks like a 2-story picture window.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're gonna extend that wall out to be flush with the existing wall. So it won't be,
Which
pushed
a
in
lot of
anymore?
stoves to get pushed back.
Yeah, they'll pick up about 4 feet in that area.
Is that gonna require actually a foundation be put in?
A sonotube and a pole.
Okay.
Kind of what we did with the restrooms.
Mhm.
Well, they have a foundation.
They do, but this would
The
just.
original plans for that were something to do also.
Yep,
It will affect the roof line,
Yeah, no, that's my
because unless
concern.
you
was,
have somebody 3 feet tall cooking,
and,
can't get back where the stove will be,
right.
Yeah,
so they're gonna have to raise that roof.
Well, no, actually,
They're gonna flatten
that
it out.
roof line is higher than the other one that's right next to it.
Yeah, but still,
You know, I think there's well, with the hood in there, the hood has to be 6'6". So the roof line has to
6'6"
accommodate
off the floor.
off the floor, yep. And then, but it's not just 6'6", you've got then the height of the hood, and then you've got metal flashing, and you've got some other material that's about 1.5 inches.
Mm.
So I think that they said it needs to be about 7'6" or something.
It's quite a mess over
Yeah, right, well, is there any idea as to how long that's gonna take to get accomplished?
there this summer.
We also.
Pulled everybody off of it,
Mhm.
because they gotta get this place ready for Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah,
And then they have the rest of the summer to do that.
Well, actually, not really, because I know she's got some rehearsal over there for fall. So yeah, they probably, summer, but,
It'll be after September, so
Fall.
September is the goal for that.
yeah.
And, you know, it always looks worse when it's, you
Oh, yeah.
know, all ripped apart. And then as soon as the sheetrock goes back up, everybody goes, oh, it's all done.
Let's see, one of the other things that he said that, they're gonna be identifying on how the towers are pinned to the ledge
Yeah.
because of that, what is it, that Core Rock 2000 or 3000, something like that?
Well, we already fixed the top one,
Right,
so.
but now we gotta look at the rest of
Right,
them.
that's the only one we have.
Well, the other thing too is Corey has, I believe he talked about an alternative way to pin the other ones. And, because, I mean, we're not the only ones in this situation in the ski areas out here. I mean, when I figure Waterville Valley probably has 3 or 4 lifts that are in that same situation.
Mhm.
So I believe that they have another way that they can go in and drill through the base of the foundation and rebar it.
Right through the existing foundation.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. And then, they're gonna, also when they go to look at the lift at Sugar Bush, they're gonna, I think I already said that, look for compatible parts and stuff like that.
Yeah, and one of the things about that lift is I think they have newer chairs.
yeah, they do, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry to say.
And they hook on in a
Different way,
different but better way.
he's not sure if the chairs have it.
Right, yeah, you gotta check that.
Yeah, and, I can't remember, I don't think he told me the dollar amount, but I know Sean mentioned it, and it was
It was
20
really,
really,
it was 20,000.
okay, 20, I thought
The
someone
other
was.
thing is the existing chairs that we have, if we can replace them,
It's sold.
sell them, and I didn't realize there was such a market for those.
That's huge.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Don't say that word.
You don't want huge? It's large.
Yeah, it's a big market.
It is.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
said, who wants an old lift chair?
Well,
A lot of people.
I know, there are all these, everything from Cracker Barrels to whatever.
And
They
it's
have all
all,
these
Wings in
antique
the
stuff.
yard.
it's also people that have used it. You know, it's, Mike Herring said that he bought one, at Killington. And he said it was $300. And when he got there, he said, oh, it wasn't as big as he thought, and he was gonna buy another one, and they said, no, we sold out in 30 minutes.
Well,
Oh,
Yep.
The other thing Corey said that, though, is if the chairs are compatible, we can add more chairs to
Yeah,
our
we can go
lift.
up to 60 something.
Yeah, because I guess as the chairs have been failing, we've just been taking them off.
yeah, right, yeah.
So,
Yeah, you used to have 67 chairs on there when I moved up here.
I mean,
I think it's
Another
52.
6,
52, I think.
52.
I think it's 52. I could be wrong on that, a lot of numbers are on that. But, I mean, also, this would be a good thing from a spare parts standpoint.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, because some of this stuff, you know, is becoming. Hmm?
Sugar bushes of
Yeah, Vermont.
Yeah.
We have
Any
some,
other,
excuse me, we have a little bit of time on that one. I think Corey said that the gentleman who had contacted him is away for 2 or 3 weeks, so it's not like we have to decide on that today.
yeah,
Well, well, we don't even know what there is to decide on.
Well, yeah, Corey has to do his due
Is it any
diligence.
good? Yeah, right, yeah. But the obvious thing is that he's going to look at it, so we'll know more to make a decision about it next time.
any other questions about the ski area updates? Okay. The operations and staffing update, that I'll need to talk to you guys in exec. And the rest of it will be tabled until the next meeting where Corey can talk to you about it.
Okay, one question I do have for the record was, have we hired a new chef?
Yes.
Right, okay, so he's actually on board, and when does he begin, or has he begun?
Next week. He's starting, I think, at the tasting.
Yeah, I believe so, at the tasting.
Okay,
Sunday,
which is scheduled for Sunday?
Yep.
Okay,
which
Alright.
is next week.
Yep.
So
okay,
we're all right.
yeah. We had interviewed him, he seemed to be really a great find,
Yeah, and he gave his notice at his other job.
yeah.
Yeah, he had to give a 2-week notice, so he was trying to actually work, he was working there and coming here and doing some stuff, you know, taking care of some inventory stuff and helping clean out at the ski area, go through, you know, what we have here, so he has an idea of what we've got, what he needs to get.
Yeah. Oh, good, so he's already getting worked into things.
Yep.
Yeah, he's really keen on 2 things that I really like, consistency of the food and cleanliness.
Yes, I think this.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I think he's gonna be a good find there.
that's a great addition.
What's his name?
Tracy Duffy.
In regards to the financials, unfortunately, the icon that I normally do click on to bring things up for Corey, I couldn't find on his computer. And so I clicked on
It's
the
all
other
in here,
thing.
right?
Yeah, it's all in here. But I was going to show you, and you know how we did the rec fund is now its own set of books. It
Good.
is no longer merged with the district set of books. It is its own separate book. So like payroll, when payroll's processed through the district, it then invoices the rec account. And then they cut the check, it gets deposited, so if there's a clear distinction line on that.
What it really means is more checks to sign.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Yeah, and more records to keep.
Yes, a lot more records, and you know,
makes
we
the
have,
accountants happy.
makes them happy. And it's just a little curve for us to get used to, having another set of books to invoice and so. But we're adjusting, it's just taking us a little time to get used to that extra whole
But,
set
yeah,
of.
but these accountants are good. I mean, you know, I talked with them and,
I'm thinking of the movie The Untouchables. The accountant.
No, not that.
No.
That one.
Yeah,
these people seem to be on the ball and, you know, moving us in the right direction, so there's no questions about what went where, you know,
yeah,
everything is all,
did something go here that should've went there, and yeah,
it's all up front now,
yeah,
which is good.
no, they're really good.
So that's the first set of numbers here, then, the rec fund.
Yeah, so that's just, the general accounts, the rec fund. As you can see, the tax supplement, scary offset, hasn't been brought over yet. Not all, we haven't transferred the one-time funding over yet, that piece will be happening, but the tax and the ski area offset, we don't typically do until the end of the year.
Mhm.
That, also, that one-time funding, the 100,000, that's not gonna go over in a chunk, that's as
As,
needed.
yep,
Okay. So it might not turn out to be 100,000.
correct.
exceed it.
No,
No,
it
well,
can't,
that
it can't
was
exceed it.
no, that-
Right.
yeah.
I just didn't know how it was going to, so it's as we use, as the board uses it, it goes over.
Okay, what's the latest on the anticipated wedding situation? I know we had some changes in that we lost one wedding.
Eric, you'll have to speak on that, I don't know anything about the weddings.
Well, I mean, as far as I know, we only budgeted for 10. And so I think we're pretty good there. And Heather's, if we don't get the weddings, we'll have some sort of other event in place. And so I think we're gonna be pretty close on that.
Where would you possibly have?
Well, I mean, she has a lot of events all the time. She has like baby showers, she has,
The back, a waiting list of these things?
what?
No,
No, kind of as they pop up, and who knows, I mean, it's an
So
October,
we turn them away because of that.
sometimes, yep. Sure. And I'll tell you what was nice, we had one homeowner here that wanted to do a wedding here, but they wanted to do it kind of, you know, we'll get our own caterer, let us just rent the ski area from you. And we said, just told them we can't do that, so they bought a package.
Oh, they did, good.
Yep, for 2018. So that's, you know,
Great.
that's just, you know, holding the line, and that's what we're gonna have to do.
mhm. And so how many actual weddings are there scheduled for the rest of this year?
There's nine
There's 9 scheduled now? For the rest of this year? Or did that include the ones we already had?
It's for whatever, it's for the calendar year.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm asking, yeah.
Yeah, because their first wedding isn't until second week of May, third week of May?
Something like that.
Something like that.
I think it's the second week, because I think
Okay.
the 10th and 11th, maybe.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Okay.
Let's see, so, looking at the income, Campton Mountain did pretty good, you know, this past, since
Good amount.
January, 117,000. That's good.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
So we've done as much income on that as we budgeted for the year. Is that, am I reading that right?
Yeah, we're actually a little bit over than what we budgeted.
Okay, and so therefore, if we do anything in December this coming year, that will be all to the plus.
Yep.
Okay,
And of course, that's all,
dejected.
it's only predicated on the snow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, fortunately, we had a really good December this year.
Right.
And, so that helped for the terrible snow
Right.
we had from the snow in the early. See, the problem with this is that you have January, February, a little bit of March, and then you have December. So you know, nothing happens for 8 months until we see what happens in December. Fortunately, December was really good this year, so it helped bail out what was
Yeah.
a terrible ski season for
Right.
everybody.
Right.
The one thing about December though, and it's kind of like we only get that, Corey said, once in every 10 years.
Joe, what,
Yeah.
a month like we had this year?
Yeah.
Well, it's the first one I can remember like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like 1 in 10 for that. And I believe that the gross revenue was somewhere around $25,000 or $30,000 for that week,
Yeah,
or that month, which essentially is that
We're
week.
at 1 week.
yeah, it was,
Yeah,
it was right around 30, it was close to 30, I think.
yeah,
Because we were questioning whether or not we were gonna, transfer that 30
yeah.
of the ski area offset over.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is
So
there,
that was really, I mean, that's,
So it's not something to count on.
well, you can't count on
No.
December.
Right.
And,
Oh, we have it every year.
yeah.
Every year in December.
We do have a December, yeah.
I guess.
Maybe you learned something.
any questions in regards to the rec fund?
Just give me 1 second.
No.
Looks good.
see, cash flow, tax money's coming in good. We just got a check for, I think it was 67,000 from Hampton.
That's from last year.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
2016
Right.
income.
How much was that, 67,000?
That's all.
In change, yeah, it's, Oh, we've had more than that.
Most of it before.
yeah, we've gotten it, it's just, now it's just little checks come in as it, you know, because they receive it and then the following month or
So you
something.
don't know how many, are in arrears, do you?
No, we don't have that information, they don't give that to me. Usually the accountants figure that out, because they have to know that stuff at the end of the year.
Most of it, everything we're getting from them now is some, overdue payments that they're getting.
Right.
Because the next bills are gonna be going out in,
Next month?
Next month, yeah.
In May, the end of May sometime.
Yeah,
So they're
right.
still, they just sent out their, lease, their, notices of, liens, are going out the 15th of this month, I think, like that.
Mm.
So, they've collected almost everything.
No, and usually when, in June, after the tax bills go out and stuff like that, that's usually when we get our owner's list from them. And on the association side, they take that and they compare it to our current list to make sure that we have the correct owners. And if there's private sale, that's usually where we catch the private sales, is when we compare their list to our owner's list.
And so you go after the CIF.
CIF, any dues, anything like that.
Okay.
Let's see, we've got capital projects, so growth and new, and then the capital preservation. And I was planning on bringing up the breakout of all the different projects, but unfortunately I can't get the computer upstairs up here.
Okay, but you've got, one thing I was looking for was the summary reports for the capital projects from
Oh.
last year.
I forgot that book. I'll run downstairs and grab it right now. I was forgetting.
Then we check one out
For the easement?
for the water.
Yeah. Oh, well, good. That was $4,500, was that?
I think it's 4,000.
4,000?
As a matter of fact, we signed it yesterday.
Okay.
And just to bring me up to speed, that was a deal that was made with the homeowner and owner for easement to their property when we put the well in.
Yeah,
The
it's
well's
not where the
on their
well-
property, but it's, we have to have an easement around
Protected
it.
area.
Yeah.
Try passing that
And
to
it's
him.
really not, it's not a Waterville Estates homeowner.
Right.
Patty went through it the other day to make sure that everything was in there and up to date.
We live in a paperless society, right?
Yeah, not us though.
Yeah, what this is, I'm looking at is the capital project summary report that we requested be instituted for each capital project that we did, each year. And, so we did, a bunch of them every year. And so we put together a report that summarizes how much the thing was and how it came about and who had managed the thing. And, it compares the cost of what the budget was compared to how much it actually ended up costing, and so on. So that all is, it's got full detail there backing it all up, I see.
Yep.
Which is then how much was spent item by item for each project. That's well done. This is for, what you're giving me is for 2015. Is there,
There should be some tabs there for 2016.
is there?
Because 15,
Yeah, I
16.
see, okay.
Got it?
Okay, 2016, okay. In the 2016, just for the record, we're showing 4 capital improvement projects that were done in bathrooms over the ski area. water system, the consultant project for ADA, and ski area ramp were identified as capital improvement projects, and the money that was spent on each of them is outlined here, and I'm glad to see this report. The ski area ramp, just to highlight, ski area ramp was budgeted for 30,000. Final cost was 13,186, which that's pretty nice.
Yeah, and that's between
because we did
Gary
it
and-
in-house.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's because we did that in the house. We had the water system, there was a couple of things that we budgeted for. The total we budgeted was for 37,500. That included the money we were gonna put in for the storage tank liner and power backup on Hilltop and Pegwood, and that's what we were gonna spend. We budgeted to spend 37,000. Well, we didn't do the storage tank liner. And our final cost for the other, what we did do, 17,400. And so that was $20,000 under, but it was in part due to the fact we didn't do the storage tank liner. And I'm missing some. Just kept them. I'm missing something. And the ADA bathrooms over the ski area, that was budgeted for $30,000. That ended up costing, over that. Late start due to frozen ground, okay. And so it ended up costing 37,715.
What was that number?
The budget was 30,000. What happened is that the ski ramp and
What was
the
the final number though?
37,715 was what was, but that, the two got kind of mixed together, the ski ramp and the bathroom movement and so on. They're listed as two different projects, and in total, the budget was a total of $60,000, I believe, yeah, budget. That's the way I'm reading it. And we totally ended up spending 50,000.
Now that ski ramp is the off ramp, off the chairs, right? You go to the top of the mountain.
No, this is the ramp that goes into the building.
Oh, okay, handicap ramp? Wheelchair ramp,
Yeah,
oh. It only cost 13,000?
Well, no, yeah, that cost 13, but there's two projects. Each project was budgeted for $30,000.
Okay, so the total.
The total was, of the two together, that was spent was actually 50,000.
All right, so we're still under budget.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the way I thought it was coming out, and then, so that was, and we've got the full detail of all that was spent, so that's good. And for 2017, we're gonna do the lounge, storage addition, we're doing the roof, and we're doing the floor out there so far in the Summit Lounge, and we've already got information on all those things in there as to how much the thing is budgeted, et cetera, and so we'll see at the end of it how much we come up with and who did the work and et cetera. We've got all that in here. That's good. I think that there's a report like this is something we need to have that tells us of these big budget items and capital items in particular, how we're doing,
yep,
so we can track it all.
yep, and I print out the capital projects and the growth in new projects, so that
Okay.
makes it easier on trying to keep track of
Now, that book is available for.
Where's the book
viewing.
kept, Judy?
Where do you keep this?
in my office.
All right, so if somebody wants to view that and look at that, that's available.
Yep.
Cool.
Just because we're always putting into the book or redoing the reports and putting in a fresh report in there.
Yeah.
That's become Patty's baby.
Oh, I see, okay, so bad Patty's doing this. Mike,
Yeah.
okay.
Harry?
Yeah, there's a question, does that tell you where the funds came from for each project?
Does it tell you where the funds
So
came from?
so if it was taxes, CIF, capital reserve fund, a fund that was already set up for a
Well,
project.
the report doesn't specifically.
Doesn't say where the money came from.
These are all projects that the district is funding, so if there's no
Taxes.
association funding in these
Okay.
projects.
Tax dollars.
Yeah, just tax dollars.
So that's just what's from the general fund, and this says right here, the capital preservation, so the district has its own capital preservation fund.
Right. that
Okay.
is- Right.
Yep. Any other questions on?
No.
Okay.
So I guess for the money that the CIF that was sent over from the association, that will be in there if it was on a project.
Yeah, I mean, I see where Harry's coming from on this. In other words, the district is paying for the roof out here in the Summit Lounge, but the CIF or the board is paying for the bar.
Right,
So, I think that,
so you're not gonna find a bar in there, if that's
Okay.
what you mean, right?
Okay,
Because this
Is that
is just
what
the
you're-
district capital projects, the association hasn't asked me to keep
so
track.
there'll be a separate set of books for the bar.
well, it's a separate set for the CIF, which there should be.
Yeah, yeah, and that's in the association books.
Okay, but as far as the building's concerned, so it wouldn't be under the building, it's gonna be under either the association or the district. So what about joint ventures?
Bill, I think specifically, we're talking about that, you have to consider what we're doing out there on the Summit Lounge right now, a joint project, that is, we're funding the roof, and, right underneath it is where the bar is gonna be, and so that is, you're doing it all in one project, clearly. But there's funds coming from two different places, but what's reported in the book here is the expenditures for the roof and, that, not for the bar,
Okay,
okay?
Quite frankly, there should be a book like that for the CIF as well.
I think so too.
Yeah, if
Okay.
we're using
Yeah.
CIF funds for something, we should,
Well, I think you should bring that up.
I'll bring it up in the board meeting.
Yeah, bring it up in the
I'll
board meeting.
I'll make a note so we can start that.
Yep.
so the district owns the building. The CIF money is being used for a project by the association, and who's managing that project? If it's an association project.
Corey's still managing the project.
Okay. So is the district using the CIF, is the CIF a tax or an association fee?
The CIF is a fee that's paid into a capital improvement fund when you sell a property in here.
Yeah.
Either $2,000 goes into that fund if it's a home, or $1,000 if it's a piece of land. And that fund is managed by the board of directors.
Yeah.
And they can work for the association, they can work in concert with the village district in order to do other improvements or other capital improvements as they so vote on.
Okay, so I thought in an HOA, it's for common assets of the HOA. I didn't know they could use it for government
You
property.
could use it almost for anything they
They
want.
can just give it away?
There's no stipulations on it. Investment land.
Well, it's supposed to be used for capital
Capital
improvements.
improvements of
That's why.
Common
They don't use it for operating
common
expenses.
property.
They don't use it for
right?
operating, they don't use it for salaries or,
Common property, I believe, right? Common property, not government property.
not government. I don't know. The
Okay.
common property up here is government property.
Well,
No, I don't know. Okay.
Well, I mean, the board can vote to transfer projects or anything to the village district commission if it's advantageous for them for tax purposes.
yeah, but they're collecting money for capital improvements on common property, and the association doesn't own any property.
They're not collecting it on common property, they're collecting it on, transfers of property
Okay,
of
so the
ownership.
intent is to collect the money and use it for the district, is that the intent? Is that what I'm hearing?
Not to use it for the district, but to use it for capital improvements of their interest. In other words, if they see that they want to use this money to buy some land or something like that, because someday they might use it, they can do that. If they want to improve one of the structures, make a nice improvement to something, they can use it for that. Or if they just want to put it in the bank, they can do that. But it's supposed to be used for improving the homeowners association. It may be facilities, it may be, anything that is capital, they can use it to improve, or buy, or acquire, or whatever, but they don't use it for operating expenses. That's the key,
Corey's calling me.
that's the key thing, you can't use it for operating expenses.
So they could give it to the town if they felt like it, and let the town work on town property with
No,
it?
I was trying to get the projector to work.
What was that?
Could they give it to the town?
Well, if
and
they
let the
get
town
some
work on-
benefit out of it,
on
maybe
town
they
property
would.
with it?
They might be able to do that.
You talking like the village district?
So,
No,
the association could take its CIF and give it to the town, or the state, or the federal government, and let them do what they want.
Yeah.
If they voted on that, they probably could.
I
Yeah.
don't see why.
yeah, if they had a project with the town said, oh, well, we'll build you a playground. They're gonna build the playground. Oh, okay, well, the homeowner association might think that's a great idea, and so, we'll give you some money to build the playground since you're gonna build one anyway. We'll make it so that it's particularly appropriate for us to use. And so, maybe because they decide the town's gonna build it, someplace in the estates, maybe give them a piece of property to build it on. But it would maybe be open to use for the people in the town as well as the homeowners in the estates. I don't know.
That's not a bad idea you came up with.
Well, I don't know, I suppose you could do that. Just like, we talked one time or
Yeah,
another
but
about
basically,
it.
there's no real rules on it, except we don't use it for operating.
Well, one of the things that the board probably needs to do is to define some of the rules in that CIF. And it really isn't, I mean,
Right now, there basically are no rules.
right, yeah. I mean, there's no rules about, and one of the things I think there should be is a rule about how low you can take that fund.
They voted, the board did vote on that a number of years ago. There's someplace in a real old set of minutes or that before it was $100,000.
Yeah, I thought that I'd heard that somewhere, but I don't think that's anything that's recent, but we should say that that fund is always going to be maintained at the $100,000
No,
level.
I remember distinctly it was 100,000, because I was on the board at that time.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, one of the things was to, at the time, because we had the old boilers too, right? And that's one of the reasons why they wanted to keep a certain dollar amount in there.
It was an emergency fund, nothing else.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
All right, any questions has anyone, have you had a chance to look at the cash flow, and do you have any questions in regards to that? That was Corey, and we discussed the whole projector thing, and he doesn't understand what happened either.
Good.
I have a question, this is just because I'm new.
Yeah.
Campton pays us the tax money in arrears.
Yeah, they collect it, and then they have to pay it over
30
by,
days?
yeah,
30 days?
of the following month.
Okay.
So they collect it in
so they get
January.
45 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Thornton?
Is what, same
Same
as well,
thing.
that's,
Same
yeah,
thing
the
for-
legislation is the same for both.
Okay.
Wasn't always like that.
I remember that. I remember Thornton paid and Campton.
Campbell was $140,000.
Yeah, I do
We
remember.
sued them.
Oh, yeah, and then they're still,
And it becomes particularly problematic because at the end of the year,
Right.
you know, the bills go out, end of November or something like that. And, you know, we don't get that money till the following fiscal year.
Especially when they screwed up a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember when they didn't get their tax bills out on time.
yeah, and that was from the software, right, when they switched software?
And they said that, it was also, they said that their,
The assessor got killed.
assessor
and,
got-
Oh, yeah, the
They
assessor
say
got
there were
killed.
more excuses than there were.
Then Anne Marie retired. I mean, it was a lot.
yeah, a lot of little
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
In your view, Judy,
Mhm.
looking at this cash flow, do you see anything that is a red flag?
No, when I was putting this together, no, I did not.
There seem to be some things that, like workers' comp, that number,
Yep,
is that gonna be that high?
Yeah, what happens is, once we have our audit, our women's comp audit, which, it's in June, July, then we get the bill,
Yeah,
and so that dollar amount that we put towards it so far is what's been, assessed through payroll. But once we get the bill, then it'll jump up.
yeah. And I know we were having some difficulties with that for the last few years because we had a particular case of a claim against us. And so has that changed at all?
I'm trying to refresh my
The
memory.
fellow that,
On the
had
ski
the
area.
Yeah.
ski area on the ski mobile or something like that, worked
We-
there grand total 2 days or something.
Yep, we have not heard of that being closed yet. So, as far as we're aware, that he is still drawing on that claim.
Jeez.
That drives the insurance rates up.
Yep, and, we were doing really good, it seems how we're on kind of that area, the New Hampshire unemployment. Our rate for the last 3 years has been 0. We've only had to pay the administrative portion. Unfortunately, we had a staff member on the front desk who stayed just long enough so that she could leave and collect unemployment. And she left. She then filed for unemployment, stating medical issues with her son, which is not the reality, and was able to start collecting on it. She is now going to school to become an LNA, and we're still paying unemployment insurance on her. And we can't get out of it. So that 0 rate that we were budgeted for is now 3%. We've gone back up to the 3%.
Jeez.
Yep.
So somebody knows how to game the system.
Yes, and unfortunately, we didn't get that piece of information from unemployment until a month ago. So, that budget line is kind of because of that. That's why it's already over.
Well, on a better note, you've got the bills going out for the dues, and we have included a surcharge if they're gonna use credit cards to pay them.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that language is in, actually, is it still here? I had one out here, up here. We've put the language in the bottom piece of the bill,
Okay.
letting them know if they call and pay with their credit card or go online and pay with their credit card, there is a, service fee for the credit card. And it is the same rate as what we pay.
Right.
2.5.
What?
2.5.
Yeah, it's 2,
0.45.
yeah.
Close to 2.5.
Yep, yep. So, and Sarah has most of that billing already done. So when she comes back, she just has to finish it.
Good.
Judy,
Yeah.
do you know how much that amounts to a year right now?
I know
Oh,
the total
God, it
is-
was, it was what, $1,100 last year?
No, actually, the total credit card charges that we pay, $11,000.
Yeah.
Last year?
Yeah,
Yeah, 11,000.
yeah, right.
I mean, you're still gonna pay that because you're taking credit cards in the bar, you're gonna pay some of it. But, I mean, we're paying it on, it's 15, it's kind of like we're paying $16 in credit card charges on the dues bill. And then we go and charge them $20 for passes. So, we made $4 in the transaction.
Yeah.
So now, by not taking credit cards, we save $16 on 530.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep,
Uh-huh.
yep. And
Okay.
Heather is incorporated that language in her wedding stuff, so if someone pays with their package with a credit card, they're paying that surcharge as well.
Good.
So it is being passed
That's another
throughout.
big
Yeah, it is.
thing, sure.
Yep, yep.
Okay, thank you, Judy.
And by the way, that's not, anybody that complains about that, if you wanna pay your car registration with a credit card in Campton, you're paying that same fee.
Yeah.
You know, so it's become very common that these fees are now passed along, because what the bank does is that they're using those fees to give you your points, so you can go on vacations with their credit cards. So,
Mhm. Yep.
Okay, anything else on cash flow then?
Oh, I have another item, but I'm gonna save it for new business.
For the Birches, Susan Birches update. Are you prepared to talk about that one? Susan Birches? I know there's a meeting tonight.
We have a meeting tonight.
Yep, there is a
It's at 6
meeting.
o'clock.
Tonight going on, and
It's on planning board at 6 o'clock, I believe.
yeah.
6:30 or 6 o'clock?
Says 6 o'clock in here.
6 o'clock. Okay.
yep, 6
All
o'clock
right.
is- it
But
starts.
when you look at the agenda, he's down a little bit,
Oh.
so who knows?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, cause.
It's specifically about the road.
Right.
Right, well now, I have some
Well,
questions.
it's not so much about the road, it's about the bond that he posted for the road.
Mhm.
Yeah, the $50,000. But are you going to that?
Yes, I'm going to.
Are you going to
I'm
that?
gonna go, yeah.
Good.
All right.
Okay,
Right.
it's,
Can't go.
I
Oh, you
have,
can't go?
No.
Oh, okay.
And Mike Herring had told me if we didn't get out of here, he was gonna go,
Yeah.
but he didn't show up.
Oh, but he's probably gonna go anyway, be my guess.
He usually comes up on Thursdays for me.
Uh-huh, yeah. Well, the issue is, I think we need to discuss this so we're prepared for this meeting. The bond that was put up, to make sure that he was going to pave the road, is, insufficient.
Oh, God.
It's insufficient, and also it's made out to the town of
Yeah,
Thornton,
Right.
which, they're not gonna finish the road if he doesn't do it. But the bond should have been made out to the village
I
district.
thought that bond was the initial bond to be followed up by a larger one after we found out what it was gonna cost.
Yeah, he was supposed to be getting an estimate of the, actually doing the road, up to spec for the town. And then having an engineering study done and, telling us, what it was going to cost. And he wanted us to cost share in that, which was, we never agreed to.
And he never
Plus-
provided.
plus, he was supposed to add the village district on that bond, so that the district would sign off as well, and he never did, and it took, he never provided us with a copy of that, like requested, and it took quite a while for me to get it from the town, which by the time I got it, it's too late to do anything.
Uh-huh. And so now, how much is that bond?
50?
It's
I think it was
50.
50.
And that was basically just to do the paving, that's all it was for.
Yeah.
Because that's what also.
Well, we knew the pavement cost more than 50.
Yeah, just the paving has cost more, I mean.
Well, they had to bring it up to grade.
Oh, yeah, that's the big expense.
Yeah, and I believe tonight's meeting in the planning board, it has to do with that road.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah, it is, it's supposed to, basically, I think he's trying to get it off, you know, get approval or whatever, but nothing's been done.
What did,
Well, he has no, he didn't do the engineering study
Now it's
No.
supposed to be done. That's
before he went to Florida, before the winter.
right, right. And so what is the notification from the actual town? What does it tell us that this planning board meeting is about? What is the?
I didn't get any notification, it was just when I contacted Brian to find out the status of everything, is when I found out about it, so I just passed that information along that they were having the meeting.
So
Okay.
the butters, we didn't even get notified.
No.
Nope.
They've done that to us.
Oh, yeah, that's common. And so we don't really know what the agenda item actually is?
No, and I haven't had time to go on to the website to find out exactly how they.
Well, they aren't gonna list it all on their website, but they just simply say that he's on the agenda. And that's about all that they're gonna put on there, they're not gonna say what the actual item is, and so we'll have to go and listen to, what comes up. and be
Well, they must have,
prepared.
I would assume that they requested him to come to the meeting.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Well,
not-
he's probably
he's not
requested.
going.
He's the one that requested it.
Oh,
I
you're-
don't believe he's going, I think he's sending a lawyer.
Oh,
It's his, yeah, it's his representatives, he's not gonna be there, it's his representatives. The ones that we met with, they're the
Oh,
ones
it's
that are
gonna
gonna
be
be there.
the engineer, it's gonna be
Oh,
there.
if it's engineer, that's good. If it's just a lawyer, that's not so good.
Yeah, right, I know. Well, what we're gonna have to,
Maybe the engineer has some answers for the planning board as well as for us.
If it's the engineer.
well, all.
Of course, if he's the guy I met, he's.
Yeah,
kinda-
he is,
he's
the
kinda-
same guy, he just doesn't,
Is that Tom?
yeah, no, I can't
he's a
remember the guy's
surveyor.
name.
No.
All right,
Was
well,
it,
we're gonna go.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll
go see.
send out an email and whatever you find out.
Yeah,
let us
I'll
know.
let you know what's transpires.
Okay,
Okay,
new business. You said, Lloyd, you said you had some.
Yeah, I wanna discuss, the, last time we met, with the board, we talked to them about, raising revenues and increasing revenues, because we were supplying this $100,000 on a one-time basis, for the full-time cooks and all that kind of stuff, and so what, and how we're gonna go about increasing the revenues was kind of discussed at some point in the board meeting, and there was a discussion of, oh, we should do this for taxes, and then the comments were raised about, well, if you do it from taxes, rather than increase the dues, what happens is that it's not fair to those people who have a larger property versus a smaller property, because it's not proportional to the services that they're receiving. You know, people with the big house are getting the same increase in services as the people with the little house, but the people with the big house are paying a whole lot more. And it's a whole lot more, it is. And so it was considered unfair, because that wasn't good. Then we talked about the dues, well, let's do it from dues. Well, everyone seems to think there's no possible way you'd ever get a dues increase. And despite the fact that we've demonstrated that the dues is cheap compared to anybody and everybody else. And so then different ideas were thrown around. One of the ideas that Art came up with was, that was not really discussed at that meeting, except in very brief, was some kind of a water charge. The idea of, we don't want to go, and everyone agrees, that it would be stupid for us to go and say, okay, we're gonna start using a usage fee for water by installing meters and all that. The cost of that would be ridiculous, putting meters on the water and all that. And so that's out of the question. But the possibility of simply saying, okay, we are going to charge a water, let's call it a tax, water fee, a water hookup charge, call it what you will, but it's going to be, a given amount per household that you pay. Well, if you don't have a house, if you just have land, well, you're not gonna pay anything. And so that's, all right, and
Per
so,
living unit though.
but if there's a living unit, you've got to pay for this hookup. Now, how much is the hookup supposed to be? Let's just, for discussion's sake, $200 a year. So every year, you pay $200 for water hookup. And, I don't know if anybody's lived in other towns, but water charges in other towns are more like about $1,500 a year.
Well, I just talked with somebody who's hooked up in Campton.
Yeah.
And he said it runs him about $35 a month, and then in the summer, about $50 a month, so.
Does he have a meter? Is it metered?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
3 months out of the year, he's paying about 50 when he waters his lawn and fills his kid's pool and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
And then for the rest of the time, so he's paying, let's say,
About
350, about $500 a
Yeah,
year.
about $500 a year. Right.
I know a number of years ago, maybe 12, 13 years ago, we discussed water usage.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, the cheapest water meter, physical water meter I could find, uninstalled, just here's a water meter, was like $75 each.
Oh, no, we're not talking
We're
about.
not
No, I'm just saying, so
Yeah,
at that time, we said, we get water meters.
Right,
You
right.
got, you gotta have some, then you need a body to go around
And
Couple minutes.
I don't think we need to do that. You
I don't
can
think so either.
accomplish the same thing, much, without the cost being added to it. And if it's $200 a year, I mean, that would, but my thought was, oh, wait, one of our concerns with what we've been doing the past number of years is been putting more and more money from the village district tax collections over to the rec fund for one thing or another, for operating expenses, when we're talking about the cooks this time. So we have this other thing, $30,000 a year for running the ski area. And so we're taking that money that would be normally gotten through taxes, that would be used for maintaining the water system, improving the water system, the roads and all that kind of stuff, and we're using it for, let's call it recreational services. But that can't keep going on, because, you know, clearly there is a growing concern about what's gonna happen to the water system and all the rest of it as we go forward. It keeps rearing its head every year, and we keep kind of pushing it off. Well, we've been putting some money into that, growing a reserve for that, but we've been pulling it out periodically as well, diminishing that reserve for things that have nothing to do with water. And so, I would think that if we increase the, got $200 per household, got 500 households, 530, well, you could be collecting $100,000 a year that you allocate specifically to the water, maintaining and improving the water system. And that would allow us to be able to free up some other monies to be able to provide to the rec fund for their budget for whatever. But at the same time, the money would be coming really from not dues, but through increased charges that the village district is levying. And so I had the responsibility in my mind to make sure that those additional funds that we're gonna be given to the board, the rec, well, we'd be kind of directing how that money might properly be spent. You know, we have some control over that money. I don't think we should just say, okay, here's $100,000 more that you can have every year, do with what you want. Because that's not the idea at all, because I'm concerned that I'm sorry, I don't have the greatest faith in the board's use of money, because they don't seem to understand that there are limits to it or something. But I really am encouraged with this event committee that is being put together, that they, you know, we've got this Catalina, she seems to be a real fireball, her and Rick, you know, taking charge and grabbing a hold of the thing, and so I think that's gonna be a real help to us on that side of things, and maybe things will get done without increasing all kinds of costs, because the members are gonna step up and doing some volunteer work, and so on. That's very encouraging. But I think this is something that, a revenue source that we as a commission might consider doing. My questions are whether or not we do this, we would do this and call it a water tax. But if you call it a tax, conceivably, you might be able to use it as a deduction on your income tax, but I don't think, maybe not.
I think that's something we have to go.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I think we need to ask Bart about that, because on top of that, if we call it a tax, I don't wanna get into a situation where you have to have the town of Campton collecting this thing for us.
Right.
Because they do collect the water tax that you're talking about. That's right
Is
on the
that a
bill.
tax in Campton?
Yeah, it's within the water district.
It is the actual tax.
Well, so, I don't know if they
I don't
call
think
it
it's a
water.
tax.
Fee.
It's called a fee.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's
a
called
fee.
a fee, but it's on the tax bill, I believe. If you are,
I used to get it on my tax bill when I lived in,
oh yeah, well, so did I,
Another life.
in Andover, right.
I think it all depends on.
but it wasn't a tax.
In Merrimack, they have the Village District Water Commission.
Well, they do down here too.
And they bill you separately from your tax. You get a water bill like every.
Oh, is that right?
3 months.
See, here it's incorporated, right, in just like we are a village district,
Yeah.
well, they collect our taxes, they put it on the one tax bill that you get.
Yeah.
And, this is school district, same thing, you know, and so you get one combined tax bill. And the people who happen to live in Campton that has the water district, they get that in that one tax bill too. And so they levy everything out, but I would not want to do that.
No, I think,
Absolutely not.
I think there's a couple of things. One, if it's some sort of a water hookup fee or a water fee, and it's $200 a year. Conceivably, we could say, 10 years from now, the water system is fine, that $200 goes away.
Yeah?
I don't think anybody believes if you raise the taxes, that's
That
ever
comes
going
away.
to get
I
lower.
know, I know.
I don't believe the water system would be totally fine either.
Well, that may be, but if we're starting to put $100,000 a year over and above what we're putting into it, we could conceivably get there.
It should take care of the well pretty quick.
Yeah, that's it. Well, the well is gonna be a big, we're talking $1 million
I
bucks.
know,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, right, so, you know, that's 10 years of collecting.
And don't we have one that needs a new lining?
Oh, that's the
We
tank.
budgeted for that, though.
Another 20 grand.
But I think that the key is that, you know, if we're ever gonna get there, we gotta have, you know, a different pocket to keep putting that money in, you know, otherwise we're gonna keep using it for something else. Because it's not like there's a gun to your head
I
on the
just
water.
think of the George Washington Bridge, which opened in 1931, I believe.
Oh, then they were gonna
And
pay
the
it off.
toll was a quarter,
Yeah, right.
and it was to pay off the bridge. And the toll last I looked was $750, the bridge is still not paid off.
Well, they built a new bridge, additions onto the
Smart.
bridge. They've added a parking lot.
Another part.
But at any rate, at least, you know, I think one thing on this, I would really like to see what the board comes up with as a committee or as a way to fund the cook. Before we say,
Yeah, right,
we'll bail you out by doing this.
yeah, right, yeah.
So I'd like to see what happens with that, because so far I brought it up a couple of times and it just keeps getting like, well, yeah, we should have a committee, yeah, we should do something, but, you know, nothing happens.
Okay, but I think at the same time, we should find out,
Yeah, we should,
from Bart, whether or not, is how we would most
should-
logically go about doing
we
this.
should explore it, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think this is probably another one of those things that could be implemented. You know, I mean, the board's biggest problem is that most of the things that you talk about as far as raising money require a 60% vote of the membership. And you never get as many votes as when you know, like, when you run for the board, you get 130 votes out of 500 homeowners that have all been sent this. But when you say we're gonna raise the dues, you get 480 that return the damn thing, and to get a 60% margin is
Don't
difficult.
forget, that's the same board that turned down, a number of years ago, 25 cents a week in an increase. Not the board, homeowners.
Oh, right.
25 cents a week.
I know, you don't have to tell me.
$12 and change they wanted to raise it.
I know, I get it, I know. So, you know, the board is, in that respect, is really a function of the homeowners. They're somewhat tied. There are some things that they can do, though, that don't require that. Charging a fee to people that rent their homes,
Yeah.
which, you know, I mean, when you start to see the weekly aggravation we get from the renters, I can't see why we wouldn't do that, especially because these people are technically in business.
You know, I don't wanna get into the renting fee, because that's another nightmare.
Well,
Like,
I
are you
mean,
gonna collect it, is that what you're saying?
Well, I think of situations like a husband and wife, where the house is in the wife's name. She works in Massachusetts, husband lives up here in the house.
Mhm.
Is he a renter? Not in his name. You know, how do you administer stuff like that? Just,
Well,
like
I-
the water
Oh, I
fee,
think-
the water fee is a little easier.
Yeah, well, that's true, but I think, all I'm saying is the board has options, because the board can implement that renter fee without anything. I've already talked to the attorney on that. So they can just say, okay, now if you wanna rent your house, it's $250, pay it with your dues, or if we find you're renting your house and you haven't paid it, then you're gonna lose your past privileges. So, I think that's fairly easy. But all I'm saying is, this is just, there's another thing on the table. Volunteer so many hours a year, or pay so much money. That the ski program out at the valley, the BBTS, they require that. They require every parent who has a kid in that program to volunteer so many hours or pay so much money. So, those are different options that the board has, aside from the dues, aside from,
Like the cafeteria.
you got the cafeteria plan. So the board has options.
Right, but if they don't even have a committee that's looking into these options, time is just gonna go by.
Right. Yeah, and then,
Nothing's gonna be able to get done.
I know, and then, the.
Well, the thing is, this other idea of the water hookup, that is something that we could implement without it taking a whole
Right,
year to do.
exactly. You just do it.
And so,
In theory, you could do it right now.
well, we need this,
Wouldn't want to do it.
no, you can't do it now, you can't do it, actually, you'd have to vote on it at the annual meeting, at our district meeting, we'd have to actually put it in the budget,
That'd be a warrant.
and it'd have to be, yeah, we'd have to vote on the annual meeting. And so you can't, you can plan on it for next year's budget, but it would have to be voted on at the annual district meeting.
And, that's.
And if it didn't happen, if you didn't pass that through, you'd have to, well, you aren't gonna have the money for the water. But the thing.
Or you have to start taking away from the rec,
Yeah.
so, it's.
You do have any bands playing on a Saturday, Sunday, Friday night?
Nope. That'd save you nothing. No bands, no people, no food sales, no drink sales. It's, I've been through this with Corey.
Yeah, right.
Every single line item, when you take something out, it impacts something else. And it, all the way down the road. So it's like, it's one of those budgets that it's really difficult to slash anything out of it without it having drastic impact in other areas. Now, maybe you need that, maybe you need drastic impact to make the point. Or maybe you just need to look at some of these other little things that, if you can get an extra $1,000 here, an extra $1,000 there,
Close a ski area, you save $30,000 there.
Yeah, you could. That is a place where you could actually
Of
save.
course, you'd lose probably $100,000 in CIF money. So,
I don't know about that.
Well,
A number of years ago, we talked about selling that property off.
I understand that, but you wouldn't have anywhere near the number of transactions that you have for real estate sales in here.
It is a draw.
But you know what? That's an intangible. You can't really prove that one way or the
Oh,
other. I agree with you.
I bet I could. I bet I could find out how many people have bought in here because the ski area. That's a pretty simple question to put on the survey.
Yep, and there's quite a few of them
Oh,
that
yeah.
I know I've talked
agree
to.
with you, there is, but it's still an intangible number. Listen, I've never skied a day in my life. I bought it here because of the ski area.
There you go.
It's true, I said, hey, it's got to enhance your, it's got didn't ask real estate values.
Did you just shine me on for 10 minutes? Are you just playing with me here, Mike? Come on, I gotta go to a selectmen's meeting after this. Worry about weeping birches.
I didn't look at skiing, I looked at real estate values.
Well, that was it. I had little kids, I wouldn't have bought in here if they didn't have that
Do
ski
you
mountain.
ski, Ann?
I used to,
Did you buy in here because of the mountain?
no.
I did,
Yeah, so did I.
We used that as skiers.
yeah,
Anyway,
that was,
so moving on.
all my kids. they all-
So what are you suggesting, Lloyd? That we-
Well,
Let's check it out with Bart.
Well, I think we need to
That'd be
check
the
it out
first
with
step,
Bart to
but
make
the
sure
second
how
step-
this would be, we'd accomplish this. Make sure we
Yeah,
have.
we also want to
that
wait for
figured
the
out.
board, not much
Well-
longer, one more month.
Yeah,
Tomorrow, well,
they,
Saturday.
they got a meeting Saturday.
They should figure something out.
No, Saturday they're supposed to let me know what the pass policy's gonna be, cause we need to know that, cause we got billing and stuff going out and all
Here's
that.
another thing they do, they can raise the price of passes. They don't have to vote on that.
I believe that's
Yeah.
gonna happen anyway.
Really,
Yeah, I think, from what I've been told, I mean,
especially those guest passes.
additional guest passes are gonna go from 150 to 500 or something.
Mm.
But, I don't know, I mean, the board, they were supposed to send out some sort of an email for us to review prior to the
When they
meeting.
supposed to send out a survey or something?
Survey went out, that's about the events,
Yeah,
Survey went out,
about the events.
constant contact?
I'm pretty sure that it's either just about ready to go or it just went out.
Hasn't done it yet. I haven't seen it.
Okay, then it's
I,
done.
I've seen the dummies of it.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway,
So we check with Bart.
Yeah, second part, and
Check with
we'll,
Bart.
see what finds
Yeah,
out
maybe
at
no.
this next board meeting, and then we'll, put this on the agenda for the next meeting, because, as to what we find out.
the one thing that I really like to see though, is I really like to see money that is coming in based on something specific, goes to that thing that's specific. You know, it's kinda like, I'd like the board to institute the cafeteria plan because we're paying for food and beverage. And the cafeteria plan equates to that. So I really like this because
Well,
this
like
is.
the water usage, we put that into the water system.
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
every dime that comes in from this just goes into a fund for the new wells.
Water.
Like every month, like every penny we put into social security goes into social security, right? Right,
Right, we won't
right.
take it out.
No.
We won't use it for
Federal
anything else.
government didn't take out $2.5 trillion. Borrowed.
Yeah, no, nobody did. That's sacrosanct.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's right.
Anyway.
Do we want to set the next meeting and have our executive session before we
Well,
adjourn
do
to
you have
that?
anything?
I do, I had a few items.
Okay.
So the rec fund now has its own set of books, is what was said earlier.
That is
Its
correct.
own set of books separate of the general fund.
Yep.
Okay, so who's the treasurer now? The treasurer appointed.
Don't have a treasurer.
So who signs the checks on the rec fund? There's no treasurer.
Any one of us.
Okay.
Are we talking about the district or are you talking
Talk
about?
about the district.
Okay,
There's a district meeting. Talk about it.
okay.
There will be any one of us. Right now it's Lloyd and myself.
So just one of the three commissioners, you guys gonna appoint the treasurer?
Have a volunteer. You volunteer?
Me? No, thank you. The WEVD one-time funding, where does that come from, $100,000 for the rec fund?
That was in the budget, that's what we passed in the budget.
So that's in the general fund.
That was money that we collected from taxes that we're going to use and allocate to
1
be
year.
used by the rec fund for specifically, paying for the cooks that we were
Food and
hiring.
beverage.
Food and beverage.
Okay, so the taxes will be supporting the rec fund for
Yeah.
2017.
Yes?
That's correct.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The tax supplement is 64,672. Where's that coming from? That's also from the
tax.
district taxes. going
Also
to the
correct,
rec fund.
that's right. As does the ski area offset, as we say. Again, the ski area offset and that 100,000 one-time funding thing are not firm numbers. Sometimes we haven't used that $30,000. Last 2 years ago, we didn't use it at all. Last year, did we use all of it? Yeah, $30,000.
Yeah,
Right, so it's dependent upon how the ski area does, it's a maximum up to that amount.
Okay.
Same thing with 100,000, it's not just a one-time fee, it's up to 100,000.
Because as it turns out, we didn't, the fellow that we just hired to be cook, well, we just hired him. And so, the idea of the $100,000 was to be able to fund his, employment for a year. Well, he's not gonna be here a year, because we were already into May, before he even gets started, so, we'll not use that $100,000 likely
yeah, it's for,
in total.
And there's other events besides the weddings, so baby showers, also those, like, that birthday parties from time to time too.
Sometimes it's.
So is that, how's that being, I guess accounted for?
It
Is
just
that,
goes into function, I believe it's in
it falls under,
functions.
so functions isn't just weddings, functions is weddings, baby showers, birthday parties, anything else?
Could be.
Anything else?
Event income, and you've got the facility rental. The facility rental, you know, we basically charge people for using facilities, for using the Summit Lounge or whatever.
yeah, it's a room rental fee, is
Rental
what it's
fees,
called.
yeah, that's the way it shows up on a bill. Somebody gets a bill for, you know, having used the Summit Lounge, and there's a line item there that says room rental fee.
Trying to think, do we have, I know we used to have the firefighters would come in and do a dinner here at one point.
Yeah, they usually do it like in January, instead of
Still
having
do
a
it?
Christmas party, yep, instead of having a Christmas party in December, because they're usually, you know, having to deal with all kinds of things in December, they have theirs in January.
That's another one of those things that, you know, they pay us for the room rental and for the food and so forth, and that goes into function income.
Yeah, it creates some goodwill with the community
Sure.
too, that
Exactly.
you've got a facility to use, you know, that's.
Yeah. Just like, you know, having Campton School and pools, it's a good community PR thing.
Right, and trying to think who else used the ski area last year.
Wasn't the Waterville Valley?
In Waterville Valley, I
Workers.
know they've come up here a couple of times for different
Party.
functions. I know we were gonna have a big
Well,
one
why
here,
would they? They have their own facilities.
but to get them off of their own site. And
Well,
so, that's
If they're
very
using their own
common.
site, they gotta work at it,
Right.
and so if they wanna be someplace that they don't have to work.
It's kind
Makes
of like,
sense.
kind of like when you were teaching,
Mm-hmm.
and you went on vacation, did you stay in the classroom?
No way.
So the association pays the dues, and the dues is used as a part of the recreation management agreement for services. And last year was $259,000. And what's being done for the association out of that $259,000?
Basically, you're paying for a lot of, all the different services that are being provided. That is, you have to pay the help, you gotta pay the, you know, people who are staffing the place and so on. And so a lot of it just goes for, paying that kind of thing. And for, you know, cleaning the building and et cetera. So that's where, you know, a lot of the money goes, everything from insurance that they've got on the people to, you know,
Cleaning products, everything.
yeah, all the pool chemicals, et cetera,
Yeah.
all that kind of thing.
The vans.
And there's a, you
Have
know,
bands.
in your, right, one of the
Something about the bands, don't you?
Oh,
Not falling
band.
into that again.
yeah.
I only go down once,
And,
but.
yeah, all the entertainment type of services that come off.
The vans.
The various different things that they're spending it on are grouped together there on that rec fund accounts, you know, it's telling you that, you know, it's going for infrastructure wages, infrastructure expenses, Campton Mountain wages, you can see a lot of it's for wages, that they're, gonna be using that money for.
telling us you have to pay people?
Yeah, every once in a while, people expect to be paid, not us, of course.
I haven't seen pennies.
So for revenue sources, the district has the taxes,
Yeah,
it has the association dues, the association CIF, revenues from all the events,
Not the
weddings,
associations,
baby
yeah.
showers.
No.
The dues went to the rec fund.
Not all of them, not 100%.
$259,000 worth of dues went to the rec fund.
Right, it's not the whole dues
What was the,
amount is what
what
I'm
was the
saying.
whole dues amount?
I can't tell you that right off the
Okay,
top of my
that's
head
fine.
until we do our
But
billing, but it's a lot more than that.
$259,000 from the dues
Someone
went
take
to the
it
rec
on.
fund. Taxes went to the rec
So
fund.
that's phone rings here.
And the CIF was used on projects here. You have revenues from the weddings, you have revenues from the baby showers, revenues from the birthday parties.
Mhm.
right.
Pass revenues, right? They pay extra for extra passes,
Right.
so those revenues. The fee for an owner, that $20 fee, is also revenue, right?
But then you've got all those revenue streams, but you've got expenses that are tied together with that. You know, you talk about the revenues that come from the showers or
Yeah.
whatever it is. You know, there are expenses involved with,
The expense is more for these other events than the revenue that's being generated.
Well,
We don't do them if we're not gonna make money.
in events, we don't charge for. Like Pirates Day, we don't charge for
That's
that.
out of the dues though, correct?
yeah, that was the dues, yeah.
That's out of the
That
dues.
will pay for the dues.
Right.
Some of
Okay.
that dues pays for the.
Is everyone on the
expenses
same
involved with that.
page? Because it
Yeah.
seems to me like maybe that's a problem, maybe not everyone's on the same page.
Well,
You got money coming in from every direction.
Yeah,
Just a couple of years ago, you guys talked about how great everything's going here. Now you just keep coming up with ideas to get more money. What's going on? Well, how do things change so fast? Right, when I first came here as a permanently living here, everything's great.
It still is
Cool,
great.
We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And all of a sudden, it's, we need money, what happened? More weddings, you have any more weddings?
yeah.
That's not enough. Ski areas open more, that's not enough.
Well, that's, the ski area. is
And I
open more,
keep
but
hearing
it's-
take
we don't make
away
money
from
in
the
ski
rec
area.
fund, that's fine, but
All
you
these
know,
services, all these things you're talking about doing, they all cost money though.
I understand
And we
that.
do
How
get
much
some
do they
revenues
cost?
in. It,
That's-
all the
okay.
expenses for the wages.
Then
and
can you
stuff
break
like
it
that,
down
all
by
well, we
the
wouldn't be
weddings,
talking,
by
we
the
wouldn't be
showers, by
talking
the
about,
birthday parties?
we wouldn't be talking
By the
about
ski area.
doing this $200 if we didn't need $1 million well.
I
See, I mean,
understand
you
that.
know, everything can be fine for a
Yeah.
couple of years, but then, you know, you get more people in the facility, you need more protection as to making sure that everybody has water. And so,
I understand that.
so there's $1 million expense that we didn't have when you first moved here.
Yeah, we.
But
we're
eventually,
thinking
you're gonna
like
have to fix all this stuff. Where's the plan? Right? You know this isn't gonna last
that.
forever.
Well, we have a
What's the
30-year
plan?
plan
Okay.
as to, and that's what we,
Capital
So what's the-
preservation.
the cash, we have a cash flow plan that goes out for 30 years. And in that, you have capital preservation, you have capital improvements, and you have the water elements attached to that and so on. You've been here when we've gone through all
I've
that.
been to a couple
And,
long-term
where we,
meetings.
you know, the long-term planning sessions, where we go through and extend out 30 years. That is the plan of how we're going to do all this over the next 30 years. It doesn't make sense to go further. But that, you know, tells us that, okay, things are good for the next few years, but we can see the day coming that we need more money to be able to keep doing these things because costs of stuff go up. And there's more and more needs that are long-term that we aren't paying for right now. And one of those things is the wells. We aren't paying for those in the next few years, but, you know, 5, 10 years from now, there's no question about it, we're gonna need that damn thing.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be $1 million. So we better start saving for it, and that's what we're doing. And but you know, and you have to save for everything all at the
Yeah.
same time.
Well, like an example, is the ski area even safe anymore with these issues it's got? I mean, it was said before, maybe we should not have the ski area anymore. Maybe you gotta start
Oh, I know
thinking
that.
at what
That's
point,
constant
because I mean, we
evaluation.
know it's 47 years old, I mean, this was gonna happen eventually. So what was the plan?
Nope, the plan is that we've got to, we do put money into it to maintain the thing, and so part of that maintenance is paying attention to what we need to be doing to keep it safe. That's why Corey's not here today, because he's at a course right now talking about safety for the chairlifts and so on, to make sure that we are knowledgeable what the current state-of-the-art needs are concerning that. And so that's the way you keep up with this kind of stuff.
And by the way, from a safety standpoint, the state comes and checks that stuff very, very rigorously. It's not like it's just, oh, we deemed it to be safe. The state comes here, goes through the whole 9 yards.
That's who's actually teaching the course down there.
So does the state feel that's safe right now?
They have to approve it every year.
So did they,
They did
Well,
last
this
year.
Can't run it without the.
Okay,
Can't run it
so
without
it's-
their approval.
so as of right now, it's considered safe?
It is.
Okay.
And we can't get insurance without the state approval.
Yep.
Right.
Insurance company won't sell it to us.
Yep,
Right,
and like
and
when we
part
had
of
to
what
do
you
the
gotta
line,
do,
when we had
in
to
order,
put the new line in, before we were able to turn that on, to let anyone down there, the state came and inspected it.
yeah,
So anytime anything's done to any of those lines, even, the state has to come and re-inspect before we can use them.
and you gotta have a, certified, person available there within your staff and so on to make sure that they're able to be doing the checks that are
And
required.
every year the fee goes up for that too. Right? I mean, costs go up.
I
Things are
understand
pretty-
that.
I mean, you see it in your personal life, don't you? I know
I
I do.
understand it, but well, I'm still trying to figure out exactly where all the money's going.
Well, there's an opening for a treasurer.
The treasurer would certainly know.
I don't know, is everything in the right spot?
Did we set a meeting date for the next
No,
one?
we have not.
No.
Are we gonna move into executive
Do
session,
you have a
discuss
motion,
the
do
personnel
you wanna
matter?
go, do you have anything for executive session?
Yeah,
I do.
she does, yeah.
Yeah.
Motion to go into executive
Do-
session?
I'll make a
Set-
motion to go into executive session.
Can we set our next meeting date first?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, let's do
Next
that.
meeting
Please.
date. Next meeting date. Let's do the 20th.
Yep. And the 25th is the day, Memorial Day weekend. before
What is
Memorial Day.
what is the 20, how about the 25th? 3 p.m. May 25th.
May 25th.
Twenty-fifth,
Does that work?
Thursday, okay.
Yep, it's a Thursday.
May
At 3?
25.
I'm asking if it's okay with
That's
you.
all right, me.
Yeah.
Should be fine.
Okay, and so now we're going back to make a motion that we adjourn to executive session to discuss the personnel matters.
Second that?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.